Okay, you're sitting in class, the teacher is talking, and your phone buzzes just once. Do you check it? Be honest, because I think almost everyone does. And that one little buzz, that's exactly what today's episode is about.
And if you said, no, I never check my phone in class, we love you, but we don't believe you. Welcome, everyone, to the Daily English Conversation Club. I'm Leo.
And I'm Zara. And today, honestly, we're getting into a topic that is everywhere right now in schools, in the news, in parents' group chats. The big question: should schools ban smartphones in classrooms?
Such a good one. And it's one of those topics where, like, everyone has a strong opinion. Teachers have opinions, students have opinions, parents definitely have opinions.
Oh, very strong opinions. So, before we dive in, if you are new here, welcome to the Daily English Conversation Club. This is the place where you improve your real everyday English just by listening to natural conversations. No boring textbooks, no robotic sentences, just two people talking like real human beings.
Exactly. And if you've been with us for a while, hey, we see you, we love you. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we put out new episodes regularly and you do not want to miss them. Share this episode with a friend who's learning English too. It really helps us grow.
It really does. Okay, so smartphones in classrooms. Leo, let's start simple. What's your gut feeling? Ban them or keep them?
Okay, honestly, my gut says ban them, at least during lessons, because I remember being a student and, look, I was not the most focused person in the world. If I had a smartphone back then, I would have been completely useless in class. Like zero learning happening.
Okay, at least you're honest. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, which I know that sounds like a boring answer, but let me explain, because I don't think it's as simple as just phones are bad, remove them. There's a lot more going on.
Right, and that's the thing. People hear ban smartphones and they immediately think, okay, this is adults trying to control kids. Or they think, wait, but phones are also useful tools. And both reactions make sense.
Totally. And that's what makes this conversation so interesting, because there are real, legitimate reasons on both sides. And we're going to go through all of them today. The arguments for banning phones, the arguments against, some real life stories, and by the end, hopefully you'll know exactly where you stand.
And we want to know where you stand. Here's your first engagement challenge. Drop a comment right now. Just write one word: ban if you think phones should be banned in class, or keep if you think students should be allowed to have them. Just one word. Go. Do it now while you're thinking about it.
Yes, we're going to read your comments. And honestly, last episode, the comments were incredible. You guys are so thoughtful. Okay, so let's get into it. The case for banning smartphones. Leo, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So the number one argument, and this is backed by research, actual studies, is distraction. And I mean, we don't even really need a study to tell us that, right? It's kind of obvious. But the data is interesting. There was research done in the UK and several other countries too that found students who had smartphones in class, even if the phone was just sitting on the desk, face down, not even being used, their test scores were lower.
Wait, just having it on the desk? Even face down?
Even face down. Just knowing it's there is enough to split in retention, because part of your brain is always thinking, okay, did someone reply to my message? Did I get a notification? What's happening? And that little background hum of distraction, it adds up. Over a whole school day, that's a lot of lost focus.
That is actually kind of alarming when you think about it. Like your phone doesn't even have to be on. It just has to exist near you, and it's already pulling your attention away.
Exactly. And for younger students especially, we're talking middle school, even early high school, their brains are still developing. The ability to focus, to resist distraction, to sit with a difficult idea and work through it, those are skills that need practice. And if you're always reaching for your phone the second something gets hard or boring, you never build that muscle.
That's such a good point. It's like if you always take the elevator, you never get stronger legs. The struggle is kind of the point.
Exactly. Learning is uncomfortable sometimes, and that discomfort, that's where the growth happens.
Okay, so we've been talking about distraction and focus, and Leo made some really solid points. But I want to bring in the other side now because I think it's just as important. And I also want to share a little story first because I think it makes everything feel more real.
Oh, yes. I love a good story.
So I have a cousin. She's about 16, 17 years old, smart girl, really creative. And a couple of years ago, her school introduced a full smartphone ban. Like you walk in, you put your phone in a little pouch, those magnetic lock pouches, you've probably seen them, and you don't get it back until the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those. How does she feel about it?
Okay, so at first, she was furious, like genuinely upset. She felt like it was unfair, like the school didn't trust the students, like it was treating them like children. And she told her parents that and everything.
Which, honestly, is a pretty understandable reaction.
Right, completely understandable. But then, and this is the interesting part, about 3 weeks in, she said something kind of surprising. She said, actually, I kind of don't hate it.
No way.
She said that she started talking to her classmates more during breaks, like actual conversations, not just sitting next to each other scrolling. And she said that during class, she actually felt less anxious because there was nothing to check. There was no social media to stress about. It was just school, learning, present.
Wow, that is actually really powerful. Because I think a lot of us don't realize how much low-level anxiety our phones create. Like it's not just distraction, it's this constant social pressure. Who liked my post? Why didn't they reply? What are people saying?
Yes, and for teenagers especially, they are so wired into their social world. One comment from a classmate can ruin their whole day. And if that's happening in real time during school hours, that's so much emotional weight to carry while you're also trying to learn algebra.
Completely. Okay, so let's talk about a big myth here, because I think this comes up a lot. The myth is banning phones means banning technology in education, and that's just not true,
Oh, this is such an important distinction.
right? Because when people argue against banning phones, sometimes they say, but technology is the future. Students need digital skills. And yes, absolutely that's true. But there's a huge difference between using a school computer for research or a shared tablet for a project, and having your personal Instagram machine in your pocket during a history lesson.
Personal Instagram machine. That is the most accurate description of a smartphone I've ever heard.
I mean, let's be real. That's what it is most of the time. Look, schools can absolutely embrace technology, smart boards, educational apps, coding classes, without saying, and also every 12-year-old should have full internet access during math.
Exactly. Those are two completely separate conversations, and I think conflating them is one of the reasons this debate gets so messy.
Okay, so here's a practical tip, and this one is really for the students listening, or honestly, anyone who struggles with phone distraction. It's called the out of sight, out of mind method, and it's so simple it almost sounds stupid, but it works.
Tell me.
Basically, when you need to focus, don't just flip your phone over or put it on silent. Actually put it somewhere you can't see it, in your bag, in another room, in a drawer. The physical distance matters. Remember what we said earlier, just having it on the desk is enough to hurt your focus, even face down.
It's like removing temptation entirely instead of trying to resist it, which honestly is so much easier. Like if there's no chocolate in the house, you can't eat it at midnight.
Exactly. Willpower is limited. Environment design is more powerful. That's actually a concept from psychology. You set up your environment to make good behavior easy and bad behavior hard.
Oh, I love that. Okay, and here's a mini challenge for everyone listening right now. Seriously, try this tomorrow. When you sit down to study English, or anything, put your phone in another room. Not on the desk, not in your pocket, another room. And study for just 25 minutes. Set a timer, just 25 minutes. Then check your phone as a reward.
That's the Pomodoro technique for anyone who's curious. 25 minutes of focused work, then a short break. It's incredibly effective, and it teaches your brain that focus is a skill you can build, not something you either have or you don't.
Yes, Okay, we also want to do a quick vocabulary drop here because we've used some really useful words and phrases today, and I want to make sure everyone caught them. Supernatural, super usable.
Go for it.
Okay, first one, distraction. This means something that pulls your attention away from what you're doing. My phone is a big distraction when I study. Easy, right?
And we also used conflating, which means mixing up two different things as if they're the same. Don't conflate using technology with having personal phones in class. That's a slightly more advanced word, but really useful for arguments and debates.
Love it. And one more, low-level anxiety. This is that quiet background feeling of stress that you don't always notice. Not panic, just a kind of constant low hum of worry. We all know that feeling.
Oh, too well. Okay, and before we head into part 3, we want to stop here and ask you something. We talked about my cousin's experience with the phone ban. Have you ever had a moment where removing a distraction, any distraction, not just phones, actually helped you focus or feel better? Drop your story in the comments. We genuinely love reading them.
And if you're enjoying this episode, share it with one friend who's learning English. Just one person. It takes 5 seconds, and it means the world to us. We're building something really special here at the Daily English Conversation Club, and it grows because
All right, we are in the final stretch of today's episode. And honestly, this has been one of my favorite conversations we've had in a while. Because it's one of those topics that seems simple on the surface, but the more you talk about it, the more layers there are.
So true. And I want to make sure we bring in the other side properly because we've been pretty pro-ban so far, and I don't want it to feel one-sided because there are genuinely good arguments for keeping phones in schools too, and I think it's important to hear them.
Absolutely. What's the strongest one in your opinion? Okay, so for me, the strongest argument is safety, and I mean this especially for younger students. Parents want to be able to reach their kids. Kids want to be able to reach their parents. Emergencies happen, not often, but they happen. And in a world where we've become so used to being reachable at any moment, taking that away can feel genuinely scary for families.
That's a real concern, and I think schools that do implement bans need to have a clear answer for that. Like, okay, phones are away, but here is how we handle emergencies. Here is how parents can contact us. Here is the process. Because otherwise you're just creating anxiety.
Exactly. And the good schools that have done this, they do have systems. The office can reach a student. A parent can call the school. It's not like the child just vanishes into a phone-free void for 8 hours.
Right. The school still exists. There are adults there.
There are adults there. Okay, another argument, and this one is more about education itself, is that smartphones can actually be really useful learning tools when used well, like instant access to information, translation apps for students learning in a second language, accessibility tools for students with learning differences.
That's fair, and I think this is where the nuance really matters, because a blanket ban, like no phones ever, period, zero exceptions, might actually create problems for some students who genuinely rely on certain apps or features.
Right. So maybe the answer isn't a total ban, but more of a structured approach, like phones away during direct instruction, but available during independent work time, or allowed for specific tasks that the teacher sets.
That actually sounds really reasonable, and some schools are trying exactly that model. It requires more effort from teachers, but it respects students as people who can learn responsible use, which honestly is also a skill they're going to need in adult life.
Such a good point, because adults have phones at work too. And the skill of knowing when to put it away, that doesn't just happen automatically. It has to be learned somewhere.
Okay, let's do a quick grammar moment here because we want to keep things useful and practical. And today's grammar insight is actually really connected to what we've been talking about. We've been using modal verbs a lot today, words like should, might, could, can, must, and these are so important for expressing opinions and arguments in English.
Yes, because in English, the way you say something matters as much as what you say. Compare schools ban smartphones. That sounds like a fact, versus schools should ban smartphones. That's an opinion. Schools might consider banning smartphones. That's a softer suggestion. Schools must ban smartphones. Strong, urgent.
all the same idea, but totally different feelings. And in debates and conversations, in writing, choosing the right modal verb makes you sound so much more natural and precise.
So here's your grammar challenge. Write one sentence in the comments using a modal verb: should, might, could, can, must, can, and share your opinion on today's topic. Something like, I think schools should allow phones during lunch, but not during lessons. Something like that. Show us what you got.
Yes, we are going to be reading every single comment. And honestly, the people who comment are always the ones improving the fastest. Engagement is part of learning. Don't just listen passively. Be active. Write something. It matters.
Okay, big idea recap time, because we covered a lot today, and I want to make sure it all lands cleanly.
Hit it.
So, smartphones in classrooms. The core tension is this. Smartphones are genuinely distracting. They create social anxiety, and they interrupt the kind of deep focus that learning needs. At the same time, they can be useful tools. They matter for safety, and completely banning them doesn't teach students how to manage technology responsibly.
And the research is actually leaning towards some form of restriction works. Not because phones are evil, they're not, but because the classroom needs to be a focused space. And focus doesn't happen automatically. It needs to be protected.
The key takeaway, for me anyway, is that it's not about distrusting students. It's about designing an environment that helps everyone succeed. Just like we talked about earlier, environment design over willpower.
And for you as an English learner listening to this, you just naturally absorbed words like distraction, conflating, low-level anxiety, modal verbs, how to structure an argument, how to express both sides of a debate. That's real English. That's real-world language.
Which brings us to our signature segment, One Phrase to Keep. Every episode, we give you one phrase that is just incredibly useful in daily life. Today's phrase is, it's not about X, it's about Y.
Ooh, that's such a good one. It's a reframing phrase. You use it when you want to correct a misunderstanding or show the real point behind something. Like, it's not about banning technology, it's about protecting focus. Or it's not about distrusting students, it's about creating the right environment.
You can use this in arguments, presentations, conversations, even casual chat. It makes you sound thoughtful and clear. Try using it this week. Seriously, find one moment to use it and you will feel like a native speaker.
It's one of those phrases that just sounds so natural and confident when you use it. Love it.
Okay, final moment. Before we close, one last comment challenge. We want you to finish this sentence in the comments. When I was in school, phones were blank because blank. Tell us a little about your school experience. Were phones allowed? Were they banned? What was it like? We genuinely want to know. And if you're not in school anymore, tell us what you think the rules should be for students today.
We will be in the comments. Seriously, we read them. We reply. This is a community and your voice is part of it.
And one final thing. If this episode helped you, if you enjoyed it, if you learned even one new phrase or word today, please share it. Send it to a friend. Post it in your English study group. Leave us a review if you can. Every single share helps us reach more English learners around the world who need exactly this kind of content.
We are the Daily English Conversation Club, and we believe that the best way to learn a language is to live in it, not study it from a page. Live in it.
Next episode, do you want to give them a little hint?
I'll just say this. It involves food, culture, and a question that gets surprisingly emotional for people. That's all I'm saying.
I love it. That's so mysterious. Okay, until next time, keep listening, keep speaking, and remember,
your English is growing every single day. You just have to keep showing up.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.